Welcome back. Doctors in the United Kingdom are celebrating what is being called a major medical breakthrough. 8 babies have been born using the DNA of 3 different people. Researchers say it could be a key to preventing devastating and often fatal genetic conditions. Listen to this.
Personally, I think it's nonsense to call them 3-parent babies. It's all about their nuclear genes and who their parents were. That's what we see. And so they have 2 parents, and in the UK it was made very clearly that that's the situation. They're not 3-parent babies.
British scientists combining the egg and sperm from a mother and father and a second egg from a separate female donor. It's a technique that's been legal in the United Kingdom for about 10 years, but now doctors say that they're seeing the first proof it can lead to babies being born free from mitochondrial disease, which is a potentially fatal condition passed from mother to child. Children born from this method inherit most of their DNA from the 2 parents, but about 1% or so of the DNA is taken from the second woman. So what does it all mean? Eilis Moody is my guest. She's a nurse consultant in the United Kingdom. She is in Newcastle, the Fertility Centre there in Newcastle upon Tyne, which is in northern England. Eilis, thanks for taking the time and much appreciated.
You're very welcome, Todd.
So how groundbreaking is this, sort of in layman's terms? People who will see the headline and they think, wow, this is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we're very proud that it's so groundbreaking, and it's, changing lives of patients who are affected by this disease, which, passes through generations and can cause devastation in families. So it is very groundbreaking.
And for people who come to the Fertility Centre where you are, I mean, there must be a lot of buzz now about this process and what it might mean for other families who are planning and whatnot. What are people saying?
Well, we've had some interest since this program was developed, and since there's been some news about it. We get interest from across the world from patients who suffer with mitochondrial disease coming forward and asking, can we provide this service for them? I would imagine that now that the news has gone so global and there's been such exciting news about the babies being born and the babies being born healthy, that we'll get even more interest. And, this will change the lives of women who are affected by mitochondrial disease, who run the risk of having a baby who is severely affected and very unwell. So I imagine we're going to get a lot of interest in this.
Yeah, and just to clarify, and I tried to give a little bit of an explainer in the beginning there, Eilis, before we brought you in to the show, but the idea that you have a mother and a father, and then there is some DNA from a 3rd female donor. Can you just explain how that sort of works in practice?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So we need to create 2 sets of embryos. One set of embryos has the intended mum and dad's genes, so egg from the mum, sperm from the dad. The other embryo is made with sperm from the dad and an egg from a donor. Now, the difference with the embryo created with the donor's eggs is, of course, that has healthy mitochondria in it, so she doesn't carry the mutation. But it has her DNA in it, which is not what the parents want to pass on to their child. So what we do is we remove the DNA, so the nuclear DNA, so that's the DNA that gives you, your hair color, your eye color. We remove that from the donor embryo, and we put the parents' DNA, so their pronuclei, into the donor embryo, which has the nice, healthy mitochondria.
And we talked a little bit about 8 children being born here using the DNA of 3 different people. So you sort of have a base model now of positive results.
Absolutely. This has been a project that's been long in the making, and it has taken us, a little bit of time to get here, because we wanted to make sure we were being safe and we were, maintaining the safety and priority of the families involved and the babies involved was absolutely paramount to this program. But now, we have good data to say that this is a safe procedure. It's very well regulated in the UK. It'll go on, hopefully, in strength from here, with many more babies born and many more families benefiting from this.
Yeah, what does it also mean, in terms of opening up the possibility of other diseases that can be inherited also being able, to be mitigated through this kind of process, Eilis?
Yeah, when new science happens, it then goes into other avenues. So when IVF first came about in the 70s, I wouldn't imagine anyone really thought at that point that, it was going to go off in the way it had, with things like pre-implantation genetic testing and now, this procedure. So I would imagine that in the future, this will be used as a baseline for other disease prevention.
Is it controversial for some people?
I think when you're talking about embryos, it will always be controversial for some people, but I would reassure people that a lot of thought and consideration has gone into this program. We are very respectful to the families involved, to the embryos involved, to the donors involved. Everyone is counselled and supported really well throughout this process. We're regulated by the UK fertility regulator, the Human Fertilisation and Embryology Authority, and there are very strict guidelines that we have to follow. And the whole team is on board with that. Like I said, safety is paramount, and we want to care for these patients and care for them well. So I appreciate it will attract some controversy, but remember, this is about disease prevention. And this is about giving families the opportunity to reduce the risk of this disease in their families.
Fascinating stuff. Eilis Moody joining us from Newcastle upon Tyne in the United Kingdom. She's a nurse consultant at the Newcastle Fertility Centre. Great to see you. Thanks for taking time for us in Canada. Really appreciate it.